Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. I'm really happy you've been sincerely trying to attempt and learn Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much. If there are any difficulties in hearing, do let me know. We should be, I should be able to fix that. Before that, I just want to make it live. Just give me a second where I just want to do few setups. So meanwhile, anybody has joined for the first time? Anybody has joined for this session for the first time? Please type in the chat, or you can answer me. Anybody is joined for the first time? Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. So I have set up everything. I am all right. So I will share my video. Where is the presentation? Okay. So do let me know if you are able to see my presentation or anything boxes which are anything disturbing. Okay. Can somebody confirm, because I don't see the control? I switched off the control as well.
Yes, it's clearly visible.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we are having another wonderful evening today, Saturday. Today we will be covering chapter 6 and 7. Most of you, some of you would have attended, some of you would have missed it, no problem. So this will going to give the summary. And again, all our recordings of previous sessions are available in our YouTube channel. Also, we have a Facebook. We will be keep reminding all the upcoming programs or events. So you can, if you are using your Facebook, then you can add to our group so that you will get a reminder and you can join on time. And I'd like to thank you, Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder of ISKCON Acharya, who has painstakingly taken us time to write this book just for us to help. He is happy in Vrindavan. He's a sannyasi, but at the age of 70, he took us a risk to go in the cargo ship to America, because in India, nobody was listening to him. He would take his book, he go door to door, he would give, sometimes he would not eat, sometimes he would faint because of sunstroke, but nobody's bothered to hear him. Then he thought, okay, people are going towards West, everybody's attracted to America and England, let me also go there. If those people follow, then we will follow. So for we might say we are Indian, we know everything about Gita, this is our Sanatana Dharma, but we were not receptive at that point in time. So Prabhupada has to struggle alone, go in the cargo ship, single-handedly, no money, no food, no place to stay, no nothing. He taken so much pain just for us. So we would like to be gratitude to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada with his blessing. Today I'd like to start the chapter 6. Chapter 6 entitled Ashtanga Yoga. Realize the super soul in the heart. Generally, there are three realizations of the God. The Supreme Lord can be realized in three ways. One is the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgent or the light which is coming out of body of the Lord. That is Brahma Jyoti. For example, anybody is thinking why the sky is blue? Does anyone know why the sky is blue? Why not it is red? Of course, in the morning time it will be light orange or things like that. But in general, the sky is blue. Do you know why? Because the light coming out of Krishna, who is blue, is complexion, is effulgence. That's a light which is coming out. That's a reflection in our material world. So the sky is blue. So that's a Brahma Jyoti which is coming out. That's only one understanding. The second understanding is the Paramatma realization, which the yogi you can see in the picture is trying to meditate a Paramatma within the heart. So that can be achieved through Ashtanga Yoga or Jnana Yoga. So today we will be talking about exclusively on Ashtanga Yoga. What does Krishna talk about? Most of us, we are familiar with meditation for back pain, meditation for sugar, meditation for stress management, meditation for this, meditation for pregnant women. There are so many meditation available. What is really yoga? What is really meditation is what today Krishna is going to tell us. Now, the third realization, beyond this yogi, there is a Bhagavan realization. In the chapter 7, Krishna is going to talk about the personal form of the Lord. Many of us, the Mayavadis and many of the other religion, they don't deny, they don't accept the Lord, the personal form. But Krishna is going to talk from chapter 7 to chapter 12, clearly talking about Bhakti Yoga, personal form of the Lord. So there's a Brahman realization, Paramatma, who is in the heart, you can realize. The third level is the Bhagavan realization. So it's like from going from LKG to college to university to the PhD. So the understanding Brahman is not wrong. This is right. The second thing, level of understanding Paramatma in the heart, that is also not wrong. But the third, the highest realization, the highest PhD is the Bhagavan realization. So today there are 4 topics we're going to discuss. The enemy or friend, the 1 to 9 chapters the sloka is going to talk about in the 6th chapter. Then we're going to see what is Ashtanga Yoga itself. Then the success or failure. If your yogi fails, what happens? A Bhakti yogi could not able to do his activity. What is the success or failure? What is the destination? And truly, Krishna is calling who is yogi, who is my yogi, the true yogi, who is the topmost yogi. Krishna is defining. So these are the 4 things we're going to look at it today. The first one, the topic of the today, the key important topic. Please listen attentively. If you have any question, unmute yourself and ask me, because I'm not able to see the chat box. Yeah, please stop me. You have a general question, you can ask me at the end, but if you're not able to understand or follow the flow in the PPT, you can stop me, not a problem. Okay, today's topic is the art of mind control. How to control your mind. Biggest problem anyone has in the material world. There are so many seminars, you might pay a lot of money, you attend so many things. Really, Krishna can only solve our mind problem, our stress in the management. So the mind needs to be understood the way Krishna explains. So Krishna is telling the mind is neutral. It can be friend or, let me quickly check. There are some messages. Hare Krishna. Okay, Geeta Mataji. Okay, so I'm just give me a second. Okay, the mind can be both. It can be good or bad, depends on the usage. For example, if you take a knife, you give it to the doctor, it goes for a good cause. But if you give it to a miscreant who is a thief or a rogue or who is a rowdy or a gunda, he would use it for only killing it. So similarly, our mind is depends on your hand, how you would, so good or bad. Now, I'm going to define what is really a mind, right? So in the picture, you can see there is a gorilla, a person who is dining with it. Can anybody chat or tell me what are the characteristics of a gorilla? What it does? Anyone wants to try? What is the gorilla does? What kind of character it has? Anybody want to chat or anybody want to type it? I want to be more interactive because so that you understand. So what does the gorilla does? The nature of the gorilla.
Uh, Guruji, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
yeah.
Like it behaves like very crudely, and it's there is no like what do you say is like it doesn't know like how to behave.
Okay. No
Very
control,
aggressive,
very
Very
aggressive,
aggressive. Yes.
no manners. Okay.
restless looks like.
Okay. Okay. Restless. That's right. It is ignorance, no manners. It always seeks pleasure where it is there. It is active mode. Always it is on active mode. So it copies human beings. Sometimes when we do copy, the mind also copies. Then mostly can say it's restlessness. When trained, they are gentle and calm. So yes, very good, Srinivas. Thank you very much. That's a wonderful point. When the mind is somebody experts who can train the monkey, it can calm down. So you can just literally replace the monkey character what you are told to the mind. Mind is sometimes no control. It has manner means it knows that something wrong, but it suppresses, it doesn't agree. So it says it's okay to do, kind of thing. And similarly, mind needs a expert, gentle expert to train this mind. Then it can become gentle and calm, and it can be aggressive. The mind can be suppressed. So that's why you can't just take a aggressive step towards minds. Yeah, like a friend, you have to dine with it. You have to treat your mind as a friend and trying to control and explain. So there are four important. Okay, now it should go away. The top it will be there. Okay, okay, I'll be keep. Okay, now Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 6.6, Bandhoratmanastasya yatatatmanaiva jitva atat anatmanastu chatrutve vartamanaiva chatruvat. So he says the one who conquers the mind is the best friend or enemy. So it does four main functions. So the mind does the thinking, feeling, and willing function. You can categorize this into four categories. The mind, you remember MIND, mind. M stands for magnifies problem. So to give an example, there was one woman, recently married woman. She had a lot of problems always, like, she's cranky, saying I have that problem, this problem. So she went to a counselor. The counselor asked, madam, tell me, how is your married life? Is your husband is okay? Is he giving trouble? No, he's the best guy and he's always caring, loving me. There is no problem with my husband. Then this counselor was thinking, what could be the problem? The next problem could be in-laws problem, right? Married. Oh, is it your in-laws having problems? Are they giving trouble? You're not get along with them? I said, absolutely no. She's like my mother. She loves more than my mother. I love, respect her, and she just loves me like anything. And he said, two major problem is gone. What else she could have a problem? And he said, maybe kids issue, kids having problem, hard time giving, she's not able to control them. That could be the issue. The counselor asked, madam, do you have a problem with the kids? She said, no, my kids are lovely and they are well behaved and they study well. I don't have an issue with them. Then this guy was really going crazy. What else in life could be a problem? He said, you have any money problem? No. Okay, then he thought for a while. He thought, okay, there must be some health problem that could cause no problem. He said, do you have any health problem? She said, I'm absolutely fine. I've not gone for a doctor for 2 years and I'm absolutely fine. Then this counselor gave up and said, please tell me what's your problem. She said, I want to settle down in US, but whereas my family thinks that they should be in India. Is it a big problem? No, the mind magnifies such a problem into huge and says, and you are obsessed with, oh, I'm not able to go to America and settle down in my life. Something like you lost something. No, you have a good husband, family, health. Lord has given everything, a beautiful house. Be happy. What is there? If you're not able to go to America, what will happen? Probably you can go and come. You don't need to settle. You can make a trip, and there are other compromises, but you don't need to be cranky for that. So this lady was like that. So the mind magnifies such a problem that, it's big thing, we are losing in our life, which is may not be the important, so-called important in our life. The second problem is imagine pleasure. It always gives pleasure. It never gives the side effects. But you might like some sugars, you might have a diabetic, but still mind would say, just it's okay. Long time you're not eaten, you've been eating so much thing. Let's have one or two like that. It talks about the pleasure. It doesn't say that after that I've gone to the doctor, I paid 200 bills to check up and paid other stuff. No, it never. It's always shows the rosy picture. They imagine part of it. There's a pleasure. The last time I went, but it never say after that what happened. Then N stands for no responsibility whatsoever. Sometimes we make a mistake. We know that mind knows that this is a mistake. Is it? Everybody does it. So what? One time if I make a mistake, what does it happen? It's not a great deal. That's okay. You do it again. You want to watch unwanted things in the internet. Mind says, no, it's okay. It's pleasure. Try to do it. It's everybody does that. Nothing wrong in it. It doesn't take any responsibility or whatsoever. Then D stands for denies the reality. It never tells the reality. Always the other side is green. The people living in the bungalow or with so much millionaire, they think that the poor people are really happy. See this simple person who's really happy without any issues. I've been struggling with this corporate head, and my head is, even though I'm a millionaire, but I don't have peace of life. I don't have time with my family. I need to travel, take a call, go there. Most of the millionaire complaints is that they don't have time with their family. They are not able to pursue what they wanted. This is the problem. But the other hand, in the green, we see the poor people saw the bungalow outside. Oh, see what a luxurious life. There are so many servants are there. I've been I don't have any money. I've been struggling. So always the other side is greener. So it denies the reality, right? And it tries to say, enjoy more, and things like that. So this is the a simple definition of a mind. Mind is which magnifies the problem. Imagine the pleasure. It doesn't take any responsibility. It denies the reality, but it does the activity of thinking. When you start thinking, you start feeling for it. You want to do it, then it becomes a willing to do that, and later it becomes an activity or action. So far, this is the mind. Okay, now once we understand the mind, let us see what is the other thing which we need to understand. So there is one more concept we need to understand: the intelligence, mechanism of the mind. The mind is just a storehouse of thought, unfulfilled desire, previous experiences in the previous janma. See, for example, you are looking at a particular object. Let's say a young boy is looking at a young girl. He may not be attracted to the particular girl, even though she might be beautiful. In the previous janma, you would have thought beauty in his mind. So that poor Janma Vasana is there. Somebody who's looking like this homily, somebody who wears a sari, or he might have his own definition. Or another boy might think that beauty is something, one who is a girl who is fair complexion and she should be modern looking. So another imagine the beauty maybe differently. Based on that, even though they look at real beautiful object, the first thing it will not recognize. But based on previous experiences, the unfulfilled desire, the storehouse of thought, what they imagine supposed to be beautiful, that's what they perceive as a beautiful. That's a mind. So the mind uses the senses, nose, tongue, eyes, ears, skin to perceive things, and the mind thinks that that's beautiful. But there is another person who is called intelligence, who is actually the decision maker. So how do we understand the intelligence? So intelligence, for example, to give an understanding, the difference between mind and intelligence, these are very, very subtle element. You can never understand, but let me give you an example of understanding the intelligence. So there are some messages, let me know. Somebody is not able to hear, just voice over, because I may not be really looking into the chat boxes. I hope everything is all right. Okay. So there is a person, let's say he's writing his final exam, 10th board exam. Tomorrow is the exam. He's been studied over entire period of a month, year. You want to prepare tonight. And today is the topmost T20 final cup match, India-Pakistan, let's say India-Pakistan because the favorite, everybody likes it. So India-Pakistan match today is happening between 7 and 10. Tomorrow he has an exam. So generally what the mind it does, what is that you are doing it, India-Pakistan match, T20 final match, how can you miss it? How my friends will ask about it. How can I tell them that I have not watched it? Please go and watch. That's what mind says. Then intelligent will voice say, oh, you've been prepared for this 1 year. Today is the crucial time. That to last minute preparation, what gives me the more mark for you. Please go and study. That's okay. If we can skip this, then mind will say, no. Then intelligence would give advice. Okay, if you're still anchoring for it, don't worry. You can record it tomorrow. You can see after the exam recorded. But mind again will say, no, seeing live is something thrill. What is there in the life? I missed this. This is the greatest opportunity. I'm going to miss it. So this conversation happening, right? The intelligence is the person whose voices over what is good over bad. Mind doesn't show the complete picture. It always says, it always pushes. Imagine something illusory than like in the previous chat, like this. It takes no responsibility. It denies the reality. It says it's a pleasure. It magnifies the problem. It's like life. Your life is done. If you're not watched this cricket series, then you're gone. Your life is waste. Something like that mind would tell. But the intelligence is a person who says, no, my dear, whoever it is, today you spend another 3 hours. You're going to complete your 10th successfully. Then the entire life is there for you. You can see the recording. So there is a concept called mind. So let me give you another example. Another example you will understand. So there was a poor person who has been accumulating wealth, and he was with a great struggle. He went one place and he got some 99 coins. So so this person is not happy. The king said, why are you not happy? He said, this the problem is that Club 99 problem. He said, can you elaborate more? The Club 99 problem is that somehow we got some donation and he got some gold coins. He was counting 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. He got only 99. And he thought, okay, if I earn one more gold coin, it becomes 100, right? I'll be happy. Just a round figure. It's nice. I can have. So this guy, the poor man went to a farmer. The farmer asked the landlord, what I can do. He said, I need one gold coin. That's all I need. You tell me how much work I need to do. Then he said, okay, you work for 6 hours, particular month. You shift all this goods to that other side godown. You work for a month, 6 hours in a day. I will give you one gold coin. He was so happy. Then he worked hard 6 hours. He did the exactly same thing and he got the one gold coin. Then he went home happily. Then he put it in the hundi. Then he started counting 95, 96, 97, 98, 98, 98. He said, how come it is one is less? I had 99. I'm putting one. It's supposed to be 100. It is 98. Then he called his wife, what did you do? He said, no, our kids are very poor. They're hungry. There's nothing is there. I just bought some dresses for them. He said, oh, okay. It's no problem. It's still 2 more coins. No, let me go back. He went to the landlord. And the landlord asked, now, what is that now? He said, now I need 2 more gold coin so that, I can make it 100. He said, no problem. Instead of 6 hours, you work for 12 hours. I'll give you 2 coins in 1 month. So this is the problem. Our mind always tells something, okay, not satisfied with whatever you have, but hanker for one more. So one more. We keep going, eating. One more house, one more vehicle, whatever it is. We go beyond our capacity to enjoy instead of spending at least some time on the spiritual activity. So that's intelligence gives the advice, the proper advice saying that, please, you contend with it. Today you attend the session. Today 7:30. There is a wonderful session going on Touchstone. You should spend some time to understand Bhagavad Gita. That could be intelligence. The other mind could say, no, there are so many other activities. My friend has a relative. I did not gone for them. I've not cleaned up for many days. There are so many activities pending. There's a bank activity pending. I need to go for health checkup. Of course, there are some crucial activities will be there, but mind can give you so many thoughts saying not to attend for this session. So to understand, it takes a great intelligence to recognize the intelligence is not great enough. Now, there could be one question you might ask, or let me ask you one question. If Krishna says everything you follow, why do we need intelligence at all? If Krishna says you follow this, Krishna has given everything in Bhagavad Gita, you're following it, why is the intelligence is required? So the intelligence is required to understand that this body, the intelligence is itself a limitation. So I need to rely on the supreme intelligence, which is Krishna's intelligence, to make my life successful, to even to understand the problems around us. There is a limitation, we need intelligence. Again, Krishna is ultimately everything, the intelligence also given by Krishna. So we need to understand that this intelligence plays a crucial role. If you don't control your intelligence, if the intelligence is not strong, mind will take over. The intelligence will become down, mind will go up. So the intelligence again will also will be corrupted. It also will help mind crooked way to help achieve that particular goal. If the intelligence is always on the top, it always checks the mind. Don't do it. Don't do. Correct this. This is the wrong activity. It tries to control the mind. But intelligence comes down, then it is worst. Intelligence also joins with the mind, and then most of the problem happens in the life. So there's another problem is that the next important point you need to understand this: the mind never be in the present moment. It is always either whatever lamenting for whatever happening in the past, or what is going to happen in future, the insecurity of the future. What would happen if I don't get my job, or what happens to my job? What if I don't make? What if my sons doesn't have many things like that? Whatever wealth I could not able to accumulate. There are so many insecurities in the future. What about my health? Who will take care of my pension, old days? I'm working for a private organization. I don't have a pension. I don't have a proper house or proper car, whatever it is. So this mind always worries about the future, which is insecurities, or it always thinks, oh, that was happened in the past. You're not able to come out. You've been thinking. There are roughly in a day, mind creates about 60 to 70,000 thoughts. 60 to 70,000. So many thoughts. Just imagine, it's going on. When I talk, you would have at least gone through some 200 to 300 thoughts would have gone. You may not noticed it. Some of them you might noticed it. The mind is so quick, so fast. The fastest mechanism is mind. Mind can just go to US now. When I say US, you would have imagined, the Liberty statue holding it something, or your family relation, somebody is there, you would have thought about it. So the mind is so fast, it can go. So the one other thing, main problem is living in the present. The intelligence, using the intelligence, enjoying the present life, it is very, very important, rather than worrying about the future, about the past. You can't change the past by worrying. Can you change the past? No. Can you change the future? At least some direction Krishna has given. Whatever, you have to come, whatever you're destined through karma, it will come. So by worrying it, whether your future will change, no. So if you want to score good marks in the IIT, or somebody wants to get into the medical college, keep worrying, okay, will I get my medical seat? There are so many competition. Will that help? Or you start studying presently, you start studying it, you preparing yourself. The present activity you do, if you get it, that's okay. If you don't get it, but you put your fullest effort. The chances of person getting into IIT, person putting be in the present, putting effort, he'll be more success than worrying. Simply a person 100% worrying about future, will I get it, will I get it? You will not even prepare for it. So the mind is such a function that it will not allow you to focus. Now, I understood what is mind. I know I need to control my intelligence. Now, how do I control it? So the mantra, right? We chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, any mantra for that matter. It's only through the mantra we can deliver this mind. How? Man is mind, and tra means deliver. So by practicing the spiritual activity, by chanting, one can able to overcome this. Now I'm going to do a quick small exercise. Let me know if you are able to see me in the Zoom. Okay, into the meeting. I want to see myself. Okay, are you able to see my screen? Now, if you're able to see now I'm going to ask you to do something. Please do it. Where is the mind? Where is the mind in your body? Where it is located? Okay, the second question, where is your manasu? Where is your manasu? So most of the time, what happens is people, when you say mind, they'll show here. Or when manasu say, they will touch the heart, but both are same. In English, it is mind. In Kannada or other languages called manasu or heart. So that's Manasu is here in the heart region, where in the chest region, right? So generally when we associate mind, we see this brain. You can see in the picture, there is a brain. Brain is not a mind. Brain is like a hardware or your computer. It can store the information. It's just like a material information. But the entire experience of the previous life, the entire vasanas, the entire habit, the entire anchoring, the entire definition of beauty, everything is stored in the mind. It's a subtle thing. It is not a physical. A person when dies, the mind is not deteriorated or destroyed like in the brain. Brain is just a storehouse, like in a hard disk. But the using this mind, you can pull out those information, or it stores already. So this is more of a material knowledge. The brain has contains a more of material knowledge. That's why next time somebody dies, they have to still study A, B, C, D. But the spiritual knowledge, everything is stored. The previous vasanas and everything is stored in the subtle body, which is ego, mind, and intelligence. Mind, ego, and intelligence. So somebody has put the chat. Mind is the subtle body. That's right, Geeta Mataji. Thank you. So mind is the subtle part of it. Okay, now how do I control it? Here Krishna gives two solution to it in the sloka 6.35. He said it's only through practice, abhyasena and vairagyena. So he said these are the only two things by which you can do. Otherwise, there is no other way you can do it. He says, so the practice stands for do's, the do's you have to do. The don't stands for renunciation, or vairagya means renunciation. You want to renounce something, then it stands for the don'ts part of it. So let us look at the do's part of it. So we have to chant this mantra I was talking, like mantra. Mantra means one which one delivers the mind. That is chanting. Through the chanting process, what happens is one can clean up the control the mind. So the intelligence becomes stronger. So the intelligence can be fed with the intelligence spiritual knowledge. What is food for the intelligence? Intelligence, it relies on this satsanga, what you're currently doing it. It depends on the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. It depends on the knowledge of what Krishna spoke. The intelligence works because Krishna controls this intelligence, right? Anybody who's really sharp or intelligence, that means that Krishna says, I'm me giving the intelligence and buddhi. So Krishna says that I'm the controller. So what is that food for it? Hearing the Shastra about Bhagavad Gita, hearing about Bhagavatam, or associating like-minded people, what we are currently doing it now. So these are the activities which is going to help, and negating the temptation. When there is some temptation, like for example, you have something, make it public, more of your public life. So your private life, you might have a lot of unwanted things or bad things, you might be doing it. As much as possible, you need to be transparent between, you reduce the gap between our internal baggage and the external appearance, what somebody others perceive, right? There is a bad internal life and the public life we have, public face. So there's not should be many duplicity. You should come to close standard. Most of the time it is very good if you can, instead of living alone, doing everything, do publicly anything you want to do. For example, you have so much temptation for mobile, at least you do in front of make your browsing history public or something like that. Or you can have a friends who can like-minded people, you engage in the other activity. So it's always idle mind is a devil workshop. Instead of doing something other things, you always positively engage on positively something. You have more higher taste, which is this Krishna consciousness, then you have less time for others. Most of the time devotees are so busy that they don't even have time for anything else, think about anything material. Like one time the temple was being constructed and Prabhupada was asked, this brahmachari came and complained, Prabhupada, I don't have time for anything. I've been so busy. He said, no, good. You've been away from Maya. Why are you worried about? You need to be happy. So like that, there is a positive engagement if you have like this satsanga, attending it, regularly hearing, spending half an hour, 15 minutes in the chanting, taking one book of Bhagavad Gita, shloka, reading it, like trying to remember always Krishna, taking a food which is offered to Krishna. This again will help you to put more thoughts. What happens is this mind is like just like a what do you say? It's a machine where it just shows the picture and close it. Like let's say I have 100 pictures, right? I have a card. So the mind is something, it will randomly, it will pull, it will show, it will keep it. It will pull up something, show, it will keep it. It will say, this was good, you enjoyed it last time. This might be a good, it will show. So the picture, what are you seen through capture the eyes or senses, through other nose or tongue, whatever the impressions it's there, it goes and sits in the subconsciousness or in the mind. So the mind is just, it pulls out one card, it shows, so this is good for you, you will enjoy. This is good for you, this is good for you. It's keep on showing. It's like a machine. It doesn't take any decision or something like that, but it's keep on doing it. So what happens is, if you put a lot of good cards, a lot of good impressions, a lot of spiritual activity you've done, you put that impression, what the mind would take out, it will say on the day, oh, it was very nice, I attended last session of Bhagavad Gita, let me call another friend and let him add it to this, and let us read together, chant together, or let us go to visit nearby temple. That's what the mind would say, right? So it will always pick up the good card. If you keep on putting garbage and you keep on putting good stuff, it doesn't work. It will pick up randomly, and it can be problematic. So you need to, the more you put good stuff, the mind is going to pick up the good card and show to you. So the control of the mind by spiritual intelligence, by feeding a spiritual knowledge. The intelligence need to be stronger. Only through intelligence you can control the mind. If intelligence needs to be stronger, the only food which can take it, the spiritual knowledge, which we are discussing. So through practice and renunciation, renunciation is the don'ts, basically hearing too much of mundane music, rock, which are like very aggressive in nature and things like that, very passionate. You can listen to Sattvic, more Carnatic devotional stuff like that. Instead of using too much watching newspaper and FB, we can at least get the highlights and start, instead of simply browsing overnight, midnight, burning the oil, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It becomes a habit. So instead of that, you start reading Krishna, nice pastime. Krishna is also having so much wonderful pastime to attract us. There is nobody, I don't think anybody would have, even in any of the movies has come such a script. Krishna is killing of so much divine, so much pastimes, so much nectar in it. You can do it. The association, you can come, not missing the association. Mind will say there's so many activities, but you can adjust it so that 1.5 hours I want to give to dedicate to Krishna on Saturday and Sunday. I want to practice this bhakti. That should be the determination. And offering the food, as I mentioned, will definitely help. These are some of the tips where you can control your mind. Okay, any questions on this mind before I move on to the next topic?
Prabhuji, there was one question on the chat from Geeta Mataji to expand on associating with the like-minded people. Please expand on associating with the like-minded people. That's the question, Prabhuji. Or maybe you can just elaborate on it.
So a person can be judged based on his friends. Who are his friends? If you tell your friends, I can tell you what kind of person you are, what kind of character you have. So when we say association, it's more of a spiritual incline oriented. You want to do something. Now what happens is you are hearing a powerful lecture. You're really enthusiastic after this lecture. When you go out, your friends, ಏನಪ್ಪ ಈ ವಯಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ಯಾ ನೋಡು, ನಾವು ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಹೋಗಿದ್ವಿ, ಆ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಎಲ್ಲ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ಕೋ, ವಯಸ್ಸಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯಾರು ಬೇಡ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ to push, then the air will go down in the balloon. Then you will not have, again, you go back to the old one. If let's say similarly, you have another person who said, you talk about it, you tell him, and I was really interesting something I was hearing, but I want to explore something. The other person is proactive to it, or he wants to encourage you on that purpose, then you will go on that direction. But there are a lot of always obstacles will be there in your path. So the kind of association you have, the more friends of association, positive minded people who want to know your life, then it's better. But most of the people, they don't know what is enjoyment. They think that the enjoyment is going out, spending some time with friends, or it is Saturday, Sunday bachelor party. If it is a bachelor, going to the movie, that's what their definition of enjoyment. Anything other than you do, they say, my God, somebody's brainwashed. Yes, we are brainwashing because we're taking all the dirt out of your mind, and we want to clean up and restore it to mind to the original state, right? So other person will say, no, you've been mesmerized, you've been brainwashed, you've been spoiled. These guys, I told you, never attempt any of these sessions. You attempted, you got spoiled. That's what they'd say. Immediately you think, oh, this probably what are these guys are doing, it might be, they are just telling us for brainwashing, right? You might start thinking. So you are not steady, you're not still convinced on the spiritual path. You're trying to understand now. So what happens is your path can go this way or that way, depends on the person who is you're associating. That's why we say have friendship with somebody who can give you good advice, who can take you to the spiritual path, who can encourage in your life to do what is best. So that's what the association means. Okay. So let us move on to the wonderful topic um, on the chapter 6 on the Ashtanga Yoga. The next part of it, it's on the Ashtanga Yoga. What is really Ashtanga Yoga? What is the meditation really we are talking about? There are so many meditations we came to know about it. I was telling pregnancy yoga, back pain yoga. One time I had sugar, then I went to I was in Pondicherry for various reasons. Then I asked them, they said, yes, you can do cure through yoga. They taught me few practices, which is really good. I'm not saying that sugar is not cannot be controlled by yoga, but what is the real definition of yoga? You need to understand. Now you can see this person who is putting his head on the fire, around is setting a fire. These are the yogis in the Himalayas, right? There are 8 steps involved in this Ashtanga Yoga. Yoga means anything connected to Krishna. If there is nothing is connected to Krishna, you can't call it as a yoga, right? So there is this first is yamas. Yamas means external disciplines, like going to the secluded place, living in a secluded place, putting a deerskin mattress or something like that. The niyama is internal discipline. Eating. How do you control your eating? How to senses you're controlling, withdrawing from other activities, brahmacharya, complete celibacy, following celibacy, eating 2 times in a day, eating a very simple food. These are niyama, it comes under the niyama category. Then there is asana, sit on the various posture. This is asana. Most of the time we call it as a meditation or yoga, because this is what we know. Asana means you do some stretching exercises. Yes, it's really good. It helps you to control your body. It maintains some of your health issues after 45. It definitely helps you to make life better, but that is not yoga. You can call it as some exercise or whatever asanas you want to do. That's good for health, but that's itself not a complete yoga. After that only actually it starts. Then pranayama is the next. Once you're not able to sit, you will not be able to breathe, control your breaths. So these yamas, niyamas, asanas are prerequisite for you to start even yoga. Unless you do is control your food, sitting posture, live in a secluded place, Himalayas like these yogis, they live. He's just having a kopin. It's a small piece of cloth. That is all his dress entire year. Can you live like that? You need to ask yourself that question. Can I live like this? Then yes, it is for you. You can go to Himalayas. So then you start controlling pranayama, giving the in to out. That's what I was telling last time. Why do they live for 200 to 300 years? The Krishna has given number of breaths is fixed. So if you control your breaths, you take long breath and you live for long. Sometimes they give in to out so that they practically doesn't breathe. That's why they live for long. Then the pratyahara. So then slowly withdraw, control senses, doesn't wandering. Here comes the mind. Then dharana, they start concentrating. Then they really meditate on the Paramatma in the heart. It takes such a long process. This is called actual Ashtanga Yoga. Anybody is telling, I am really interested in Ashtanga Yoga learning, ask yourself whether you will be able to do all this stuff. Then yes. But in the Kali Yuga, it is not practically possible. It was possible in the Satyuga. Satyuga people lived for 1 lakh years. So 1 lakh years, what they will do in the life? So now we have 50, 60 years, we completed everything, right, in our life. If a person lives for 1 lakh years, what does they do? They just do a meditation for 40 years, 50 years. Vishwamitra meditated for 60 years. Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, they're all meditated 10, 20,000 years. They'll just simply they do for 20 years because they live for 1 lakh years. That was possible, and the forest was there. Now there is no forest. You have to find a forest means you have to go. It's all protected. Only a few stretches of Bandipur and forest is there where you can go and live in the forest. That also been occupied by some people there. The forest dwellers. So there is no place where you can go and do even practice this, right? So it's very difficult that point of time. Now Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is a Harinama Sankirtan. The yoga we need to do is Harinama Yoga, Harinama Yajna. That is what would help. So this is at a high level Krishna explains. Now, what happens is some of these yogis, they might show you a lot of siddhis. The byproduct of Ashtanga Yoga is actually you should achieve, you realize the God. But most of the time when they get into Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana stage, they would show Ashtasiddhis. It can produce a lot of Ashtasiddhis. Now, what is that? There are 8 of them have been Prabhupada is explaining. One is Anima Sakti, which is you can reduce yourself to smallest light, minute thing. If you remember in Ramayana, Hanuman is to do that. He want to enter to the Lanka. He was thinking, if I go in the big farm, they will find out. In the night, he goes in very, very tiny monkey. It goes very small. He can reduce like that. Mahima, ability to increase size one size. Again, Hanuman, he want to take Rama and Lakshmana in his shoulder. He just expanded when he wanted to jump the Lanka ocean. He took such a gigantic form. Nobody can imagine how it got it. Then there is called Garima, ability to increase one's weight indefinitely, and ability to become lighter than a light. Somebody would walk on the water, ability to obtain anything. Somebody, mango will be there in some other places. I want to get it. Now Kashmir is the season where apples are there. I want to plug it from the garden in the Himalayas. I can get it from here. So there are people who can do that. I can't, but I'm telling yogis. So similarly, able to acquire anything, lordship over creation, controlling the material elements. Sometimes they'll give ashes, sometimes they can get gold, sometimes whatnot. They can do that, having control over things, right? These are some of the siddhis it can happen. But Krishna is the Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Krishna is the supreme Yogeshwara. He's the topmost Yogeshwara. What kind of siddhis he doesn't have? He can change his form to Mohini Murti, immediately transformed. You can see Dasavata, Matsya, Kurma, Varaga, Nashima. He can take animal, whatever species he want. He can convert himself. He can change whatever he want. He can do it. The Trivikrama Avatara, he became so huge, increased size, entire 14 planetary system he just measured in 1 foot. Then remaining this other loka he measured in 2 foot, and 3rd foot he didn't have any place to keep. He said, where do I keep it? To Bali Maharaj. Then there is a wonderful pastime of Trinavrata. He became very, very light. Krishna became like a very feather, that's Anima Sakti. Then in this wind demon, he took him easily in the fly. He was flying, and the 3rd picture you can see, he was flying. Then Krishna became really, really heavy. He became like a mountain. He could not able to fell crashing down. So Krishna increased his weight, he decreased his weight. So you can see that then Krishna lifted the entire Govardhan hill, which was many, many miles high. You can't imagine. It was just blocking the entire Mathura. Imagine sunlight never come to Mathura. It was such a huge mountain. Krishna effortlessly lifted. It was floating on his little finger. He's not with holding like Hercules, holding the entire earth with such a difficult task. It was floating like this on the head. Who can do that? And he drank the entire forest fire. Now there is any advanced countries also, you can't control the forest fire. Certain extent they can maintain it or protect it. But once forest fire comes, forest fire comes. There's nothing can do anything. Any government, nothing can do. How much water you can pour to control the forest fire? But Krishna simply swallowed the entire forest fire. Then there's a Brahma Vimohan Leela. Brahmaji was stolen entire calf and calves, the children's gopas. Krishna expanded himself like the gopis 1 year. Nobody knew that Krishna, it was Krishna. There was change in the activity. Everybody is feeling more love. The cows are having more love. It's because Krishna expanded. The boys were hidden in one of the cave. When Brahma came and he saw this picture, the 6th picture where Krishna is sitting and there's so many Vishnus are standing. He got bewildered. The boys were looking like this. So Krishna can expand himself. Somebody says, I can walk on the water. Somebody would say, when Krishna is born, he was going to Mathura to Vrindavan. The Yamuna separated herself. She gave a path saying, Krishna, please go. You don't even need to walk on the top of the water. I'll give the path. He just separated and just stood like a wall. The water was like a wall. And he was just walking. Vasudeva was walking. And there's a beautiful pastime of Jagannath who can get things wherever he wants. So generally the outcast people or the lower caste people or the other religious people are not allowed inside this Puri, Orissa, Jagannath temple. But one devotee is very, very, with the devotion, he want to offer to mango. So Jagannath can take these mangoes and he can eat it. And the pujari went inside, they saw all this chippa, all this nuts were, the mangoes nuts were there inside. Jagannath was eating those offered outside. This was offered the temple is very big. So at least half a kilometer away in the entrance, The Garuda Stamba, the devotee was offering from outside, not even entered into the temple. But Jagannath could able to take that from outside. It's really long. The temple is quite big, and he could able to take it. The person who is standing outside on the street and take it and eat it. And Krishna has showed this Vishwarupa. Who can show this Vishwarupa to anyone? He showed the entire universe. What kind of yogis he showed it? So why I'm telling you this? Sometimes the problem with Ashtanga yoga is that when we try to do that, you get some siddhis. You might achieve another 50 years or 70 years of with struggle walking on the water. So what is the use of walking on the water? You can go 2 rupees or 5 rupees you give in the boat. Prabhupada says that you can cross over there. Do I need to spend so much labor to walk on the water? Or somebody creates 1 milligram of gold. What is the use? You produce the gold mine, no? India, let India become rich. Why you are restraining yourself only to generating a milligram of gold? If you have siddhis, please generate gold, give freely to everyone. Let them everybody be millionaire in India, no? So what is the use of generating one minute part of gram of gold? So these yogis have limited siddhis, but Krishna is the topmost yogi. And for the bhakti yogi, you don't need, this becomes as a byproduct. Any devotee to follow bhakti yoga, it is always byproduct. You will have this siddhis already. You may not, the devotees doesn't want to show their siddhis, especially Ashta Siddhis, the Ashtanga Yoga. They're not interested all about. They just aren't interested about love, about Krishna, loving exchanges. That's all they want. But default it is there, but they don't use it, or they even don't know that they have. But they least bother about this siddhis. So this is on the Ashtanga Yoga Krishna explains. So Krishna then explains better than Ashtanga Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is again, Krishna explains to Arjuna, please follow Bhakti Yoga. The problem with the Ashtanga Yoga, then Arjuna asks, okay, I'm taking Bhakti now. I've been sincerely practicing everything. I gave up my enjoyment with going to friends, eating so-called happiness, but I'm devoted now reading Bhagavad Gita. But after some time, I could not able to maintain it. After few years, I go back to my old activity. What will happen? So is it success considered as a failure? That's what it says. Bhakti yoga always is successful. Even you do small, even though you become failure in the process, you will start from where next life, where you left it in this lifetime. Krishna will never minus it. It's always whatever you spend, it is accumulated. Once it's accumulated, it never goes. Your bank balance, spiritual bank balance will be there. Then you start from wherever the next opportunity given, you grow. So you can see the comparison of two powerful examples. One is Vishwamitra, another one is Haridas Thakur. So this Vishwamitra, we all know, great yogi. He is a Ashtanga yogi. 40,000 years he did meditation. He was about to achieve the post equivalent as Indra. Indra got bewildered. What happens? This guy becomes my post. He's doing so much tapasya, greater than me. Nobody's can. The heat is generating out of the entire world, and we don't know. Then he sends Menaka. So Menaka started dancing, even hearing a little bit of the sound of the the chain. So he just so attracted. Then he lived with her. Then Sakuntala, born as a girl, you can see that he was discussed with Sakuntala. Sakuntala finally gave birth to Bharata. The great India, the Bharata was named after this king. So that was Sakuntala's son, which was the produced by Vishwamitra. So you can see that a yogi, Ashtanga yogi, can fall down any point of time. Either they are attracted to this siddhis, or it is very difficult process. They can't control the senses because it can still agitate. So this is first time. Second time also same thing happened. This time Indra sent Ramba. Ramba said he not even opened his eyes. I know that he will be open his eyes. He'll be attracted to Ramba. He said you become a stone. He cursed Ramba. Now second problem is, first is lust. Second problem is anger. Even though angry, cursed, entire tapo is gone. Another 40,000 years gone. So he has to again meditate. He said, oh my God, first time I was attracted to me, second time I was angered. I cursed this Ramba, then she became a stone. So entire power has gone to that. Again, he has to meditate. This is the problem with Ashtanga Yoga. But look at the Hanuman, right? He didn't even know what is his capacity. Somebody told he take large time, jump over the Lanka. He could able to jump. He could do Herculean tasks, bringing the mountain and everything. He had the Ashtasiddhis. This is the person, the Hanuman Chalisa, it will come, Ashtasiddhi, and which was given by Sita Devi to Hanuman. So Hanuman could do such a task easily. He is a brahmachari. He could able to maintain, control everything perfectly. Similarly, Haridas Thakur, who was chanting and he just was following Bhakti Yoga. There are some people who came to Allurium. Maya Devi herself came to Allurium, but he was very strong. 2-3 days after that, hearing this chanting, this lady also got transformed. She also got initiated. So you can see such a potency of Bhakti Yoga. Even if failure happens, Krishna says, don't worry, you will start from where you left out. So then finally concludes in this 8:29. Okay, I'll take another 15 minutes for, another 30-40 minutes for chapter 7. But yes, let me conclude chapter 6. A yogi actually means a bhakti yogi. Yoga finally needs to culminate to bhakti yoga. Any Ashtanga yoga or karma yoga or jnana yoga, hatha yoga, everything needs to culminate finally to bhakti yoga. Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of yoga. So Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham. And after all yogis, the sarvesham, the best is mat gatir antaratmanaha, those who meditate on me. Shadavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataka. Bhajate ma means one who sends devotional service, not having awe and reference. He's not telling one. Yes, bhajate means performing devotional activity. So let me tell you one story. Probably I might take another 10 more minutes today, little extra than planned, because it's a very interesting story I want to tell you. Now, what happens really in the Bhakti Yoga? Even though if there is a failure, I want to narrate a small instance or two stories I want to narrate. So there is one story of Namadev, the another story of a person, a devotee who is in Kumbakonam in Tamil Nadu. These are the two devotees I want to tell you. So let me tell you the second story first. So there is a temple called Sharangapani temple. It's very famous temple in Kumbakonam. In Tamil Nadu, it's known for the temples, the gopuras, right? The beautiful gopuras they do it. The Tamil Nadu entire logo, if you can see the government logo, there is one temple gopuram will be there. That's in Srivilliputtur, which is in Madurai. The next biggest gopuram was constructed after Srirangam temple. The third biggest gopuram was constructed at this temple in Kumbakonam, Sarangapani temple. Saranga means one who has the arrow. So this is a Vishnu temple. So this guy, what he was doing is, he was very devoted. He want to construct the biggest dome for instruct the biggest Rajagopuram. In Tamil Nadu, it's the architecture style is such a way that they do entrance will be big, the Garbhagriha will be small. But if you go to north, the Garbhagriha where the lordship is there, that will be too high, the entrance will be small. So there's a different architecture. So this guy want to spend his life construct for the Lord. He has so much bhakti. So he collected money from all the villages. He would involve in the construction. He constructs the biggest gopuram. By the time he becomes 70, then somebody said, why? You spent entire life in constructing a temple. You don't have a family. You don't have a kid. You're not married. Who will take care of you? Or when you die, who will give you Shraddha? your anniversary, who will perform Shraddha? What do you think? You know, they were telling. Then he went and prayed to Lord. Lord, I don't know anyone. And I spent entire my life in your service. I'm not successful materially. If you ask me, I'm not successful person. Please help me. Then Lord said, don't worry. I will do your Antim Karma personally. Lord Ramachandra did for Jatayu. Similarly, I will do. Even today, every year, Lord goes out to Kaveri or goes out to the temple. He performs Shraddha Pinda for that particular person who constructed the temple. Krishna says, I will protect them. I will do it, everything. See the love Krishna has. There is no nothing to lose. I'm not telling everyone to become like that, live up everything, family life. But being in the Grihastha life, we engage in this devotional activity. There is nothing to lose. This is the topmost yoga one you can perform. The second example where again Krishna comes and helps personally for the devotees who depend on him, they know only is this Namadev. Namadev is the very famous saint in Maharashtra. After Jnaneshwar, he's the disciple of Namadev was disciple of Jnaneshwar. He's a very great saint. Again, this what same thing happened. Materially, one time his father asked him to sell some saris, cloth merchant, go and sell, because he's always absorbed in Krishna. Thought his job is that he'll go. As soon as you go, you'll forget. You'll start glorifying Vittaranga Pandala. You will be singing. It will become evening. And he didn't know. I didn't sell. Started. Then he sold this sari to one stone. The another stone, he said, you are the witness. I'm selling to you. You give me the money tomorrow. He went and he told his father that somebody will give tomorrow. Then father asked, where is the money? Then he went to Vittala and temple. He said, Krishna, I don't know. I've been singing about you. I didn't sell. My father was chastising me. I need to give money. Where do I give? Then he takes that stone who was witness and puts into his house and locks it, saying that the witness is inside. When he opened his father, it was full of gold coins. Krishna protected him. So like that, many stories where the devotees are absorbed in Krishna, Krishna's thought, bhajans. Krishna personally take care of their family life. Imagine. Once time he has to do some shraddha. His wife told him to get some items. Went to one shop. He was talking, started singing. It became evening. By the time he came back, Krishna himself manifested. He came with all the items. He cooked personally. He served everything. Why was thinking my husband is serving? Actually, it was Krishna. Then he went away. Then this guy, actual Namadev came and said, "My dear wife, where did you get so much thing? I am coming with empty-handed. You are also feeding so many brahmanas and everything happening nicely." He said, "You only brought it." Then they realized that it was Krishna who himself manifested like Namadev and Vittala and helped it. There are so many stories. I can keep on going entire night talking about this Bhakti Yoga, how Krishna loves these devotees. And he says, Yoginam api sarvesam. Why Krishna says everything is the topmost? Because Krishna, he just sold out. He just sold out to these devotees. When the devotees are there, he completely souls out. Okay, that ends the chapter 6. Chapter 7, I might take another 40 minutes. Excuse me, I mean, we are a little delayed today, but we should be able to cover that. So this chapter entitled Jnana Vijnana Yoga, or the knowledge of the absolute truth. This is chapter onwards, Krishna is starting 7 to 12. He will talk about the devotion service. Bhakti Yoga, exclusive Bhakti Yoga is what discussed. Very interesting, very sweet topic. Chapter 7 onwards to chapter 12. Very sweet. Krishna is going to please pay attention. This is the crux of the Bhagavad Gita. If you want to understand, even if you study 6 to 12 chapters, that's more than sufficient for you to understand about this Bhakti. So here is directly, I will talk about the most confidential knowledge in the 9th chapter, like that. So first thing is he talks about hearing, and he says how he is there everywhere. Then what kind of 4 people who accept him, 4 kind of people who reject him. Then he says why people worship demigods. He is giving about his opulence. He's talking about, I am the taste in the water. I am the man in the ability. I am this, I am that. Krishna is it's not bragging. Somebody says, no, how can Krishna is bragging? He's not humble. He's not bragging. He's telling the truth. There's a difference between telling the truth and bragging. Somebody is not which you tell, that is bragging, right? Krishna is telling, please understand, I am this everything. He's not telling proudly, but he's just telling the truth for us to understand. It's very difficult because we are so much, our minds and previous vasanas are there. We so much have previous notions that we don't accept anything. So Krishna is proving again, establishing his supremacy, and he telling, please hear attentively. Now let us quickly see some of the topics. So hearing is very important. So Krishna says, Mayasakta Manapartha Yogam Injam Mat Ashrayaha. He says the now practicing yoga in full conscious of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full. If you want to know me, then you have to start hearing it. Now there are 4-5 stories I would like to tell. The importance of hearing. Simply by hearing this Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, in this Kali Yuga, one can achieve complete. See, bhakti can be achieved 9 ways of process. One is hearing, Shravanam, which is hearing, then Archanam, Vandanam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, Vandanam. Like that, there are 9 angas of devotion service there. You can follow anything. Even one thing you follow, you will be perfected. So this is the Shravanam is the foremost, topmost activity that one can perform just simply by hearing. You can be delivered. So you can know this Bhagavatam. Somebody was asking last time in the chat, what is the difference between Bhagavata and Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavatam is a book which is written by Vyasadeva about, this is one of the 18 Puranas. Among the Puranas is one of the 18 Puranas. This is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra is the essence of the Vedas. So Vedas are there. He wrote Vedanta Sutra. Still people not able to understand the Vedanta Sutra. He wrote a natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which is Bhagavatam. Now Sukadeva Goswami was sitting and talking, and the person who is Parikshit Maharaj, he was cursed to die in 7 days, is listening. That's why there's so many saptas happen. 7 days Bhagavata Sapta happens. 7 days they hear Bhagavatam. The person simply by hearing it for 7 days, he got moksha. So Krishna is emphasizing the hearing, very, very, very important. Then there is another story of Gokarna, we see in the Bhagavatam, and his brother Dundukari. So it is a long story. To cut short, Dundukari, his brother, somehow he got into a ghost body because he was doing abnormal activities. I'm not going to the previous story, but one day another, some other time, definitely I'll tell you. It's very good pastime. So his brother somehow got into a ghost body. This person, Gokarna, who is having a cow ears, that's called Gokarna, he said, let me recite Bhagavatam for you, through which you can get liberated. So 7 days he was trying to recite this Bhagavatam. This Dundukari, whose brother was in the ghost form, he could be able to hear attentively. He got Vaikuntha and went. Then this person sitting and speaking, Gokarna, I said, my brother went. I am speaking, but I did not go. Then he asked, Lord, why I am not gone, but my brother is gone. He said, your brother was sincerely listening to you, but you are speaking, but you're not putting your mind to it. So you have to do it again. So again, Gokarna spoke very attentively Bhagavatam. He studied. Then you can see in the aeroplane, Vishnu Tudas coming and picking up. Just by hearing attentively, you don't need to do anything. Just even by hearing, you can perform this devotional service. And there is another story I would like to tell. There is how the Lord is so much eager to listen when the devotees talk, how much eager he is to come and listen. So this has happened again in Tamil Nadu. This is after Thiruvannamalai, from Bangalore, Thiruvannamalai, Tirukkoilur, there is a place, Trivikram Avadara. He is, I don't know, 20 feet tall, the tallest deity. You can't see him. You have to bend and flatly lie on the floor, then you can see him completely. Otherwise, you will see only the navel part of it up to. It's such a gigantic place. So this, there are alvars, there are famous 12 alvars who are also propagating the Bhakti Yoga from the Sri Sampradaya. So there are the three first alvars, their first meeting happened. Somehow one alvar went, there was huge rain, was storm, everything was happening, the weather was too bad, and he just went into a small hut, thatched hut, and where he said, let me take rest overnight, anywhere he can't go, it's raining, let me get up in the early morning and go. Then somebody knocked it. He said, who is that? He said, another person who came, this another alvar came. Then this first person said, there is not enough space in the hut. One people can lie, but two people can sit and manage the entire night. Imagine if you are, raining, you're so much tired, there's only one person can lie. The another person is coming and knocking the door. He said, okay, they're so magnanimous. Like we can sit over entire night and do something. Then he came. Then the third person also knocked after that. Then they said, what to do now? There's a third person came, but they're not able to see. It's very dark. There is no light. It's a small hut. They said, you come in. One person can lie. Two people we are sitting. If you come third person, there is not enough space. But all three of us need to stand and overnight. Then we can, entire night, we can spend like this. What to do? Then what they think when the devotees meet, somebody was asking, Geeta Mataji was asking association. This is the association. They start talking about the Lord, glories of the Lord. Then one alvar started telling so famous about, see this Lord that took so much avatara. The other alvar started talking, there's so much nectar, they forgot that they're standing. And there was a fourth person trying to get in. And they said there's too much. This three people cannot even stand there. We're struggling with stand and we are doing it. And who's the fourth person? Then he said, who is that fourth person? The Lord replied saying, it's me. Because you've been talking so much nectar, you're talking about me. I want to hear what you're talking. Krishna was peeping in and he was so curious. Vishnu was coming there. And immediately they saw the Lord and they started glorifying 100 poems. They were glorifying. This is the first meet happened. So when the devotees get, they talk about glorify the Lord. And just by hearing it, I told you the story of the coal basket. You don't even understand Bhagavad Gita. What is the point in reading this sloka if I don't understand? I don't know Sanskrit. No, it will cleanse. This hearing is the biggest problem. Nasta prayeshu avadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. It will clean your heart. So this going Krishna, hearing Naam, Krishna's pastime, everything is same. Krishna form, name, fame, everything is same. So when you hear through these ears, it gets directly enters into the heart, to the soul, and it cleans up the entire past karma sins, so that you are able to understand, you are able to see the vision clearly, you are able to see the mirror. Otherwise the dust is accumulated. You can't just put surf and excel and clean it. The only way to do is hearing. Hearing is the only process through which the accumulated in the heart. How can you clean your mirror? There's only one possible way, hearing it. So Krishna is emphasizing here, please Arjuna, listen to me now about the glories of Bhakti Yoga. Then he says, Matta Paratram Nanya Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvam Idam Proktam Sutre Mani Ganaiva. He says that I am the person like the pearls are strung in a thread. I am the thread. You don't see you see only the pearl. You don't see the thread. Krishna says, I am that kind of a person. You don't see me, right? Everywhere I am there everywhere. Krishna again, in the next slokas, you talk about I am the taste of the water and things like that. And he is talking about his opulences. So there is one story which comes to my mind. Krishna, he expands. This shown here in the picture. There's Mahavishnu from his fourth. A lot of universe comes. Then there is one more Vishnu is lying on the Adisesha. Then from his navel, Brahma comes, he creates the universe. Then Paramatma enters. So one time Narada had a doubt. Is really Krishna is maintainer of the entire universe? There are so many living entities. 84 lakh species of life. There are so many millions of living entities are there. But Krishna says, I personally feed all the living entities. Narada said, no, it's highly impossible. How can he do that? He wanted to test it. So what he did is he had a matted hairs. No, the saints would have matted hairs. So he got two birds, small birds. He kept inside the matted hair, locked. And you want to see personally Krishna comes and feeds them or not, because he didn't believe that Krishna personally feeds. The elephant in the forest eats 70-80 kgs of food. Krishna daily provides. The dog in the street doesn't have a master, but it gets its food. The crow, there are so many crows and birds. Who provides them food? Have you seen anybody's dying because of hunger? Very, very rare chances that they die of hunger, the animals. If Krishna is able to take care of the animals, why he will not take care of us? We just need 3 rotis or 4 rotis, right? 3 times a meal. Why Krishna wouldn't take care if he is able to take care of the animals? So this Narada tied up and he was waiting. One day over, 48 hours was over, then happily he went. He knew that Krishna did not come. He did not open his mat and put some food. Then he went to Krishna. I told Krishna, you failed in your activity. You said you are protecting the entire animals and you are feeding personally. You forgot to feed 2 living entities. Krishna said, no way, I have done my duty. Narada said, no, I am 100% sure. I have a proof. You have not done your duty. He said, you tell me what is that you have not done. He says, then he opens his matted hair, then he shows these 2 birds. See, these 2 birds, you did not feed them for the last 2 days because they are inside my matted hair and you never came. I never slept and you would have come, then I would have come to know. Then Lord said, no, they have been fed. He said, how? You know, when you are doing homa and puja and all, you put akshatakala. In Karnataka, it's very famous that you take akshatakala and put it yellow rice. Yellow rice was already fallen. The birds were eaten that. So I already made arrangement. Narada then understood. So Lord, you can't see. He is doing it. It's like a thread. His entire universe, maintenance, creation. Even we might say Brahma is creating it. He's doing a secondary creation. And we may say Shiva is destroying it. No. Shiva, when Vishnu breathes in, everything goes to his stomach. When he breathes out, he creates. The secondary creation is done by Brahma. The secondary destruction in this material world, the pralaya happens only in this material world. But the entire thing is again recreated destroyed by Vishnu. So he is the maintainer, he is the creator, he is the destroyer, actually speaking. There are other people who are helping him in this destruction process, Shiva and Brahma, and the creation process, respectively. But it is not done by them. It is Vishnu who is the only one who he does everything. He said, everything comes, matta paratram nanyati. Everything comes out. This is the superior truth. Everything is resting upon me. There's even a blade of grass will not move without Krishna's sanction. So any activity we are doing it was sanctioned by Krishna. If anybody is doing it, it was sanctioned by Krishna. Please note that. So now Krishna goes to the another level of explanation, saying that now know my opulences. I am the taste in the water. I am the moon and sun has light. That is me. The Om Pranava mantra. I am that. In the ether, in the sound, I am ability in the man. Fragrance of the earth. Heat in the fire. Life of all the lives. He just gives a list of things. Krishna says, this is what I am. This is my material energy. Both spiritual and material energy comes from me. Please understand. Now he's starting. First, what is trying to establish sambandha. So there are always the Vedas finally boils down to three things. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana means what is the relation and what is the process to achieve the other goal and what is the ultimate result of achieving it. Sambandha is that we are first identify who are we. We are not this body, we are the soul. Then there is a person who is existing as a God whom I need to love. I am part and parcel of him. That is Sambandha. Abhideya means what kind of process, doing a devotion service, engaging him into is doing that process to achieve the goal. What is the achieve the goal? Goal is the bhakti, the pure love for the Godhead. Ultimately, we go back to Krishna, Krishna Loga, we will be there serving him eternally. So any Vedas or anything which finally has to conclude about Sambandha Vidya Prayojana. Krishna starts here in this chapter in Bhakti Yoga, the 7th chapter. He's talking about who am I, so that you can establish a relation. Sambandha, you need to have, you are part and parcel of me. I created all of you. See, everything I'm creating, I'm the test in the water. Everything I'm is trying to establish, saying that in this chapter, please understand what is the relation between you and me. That's what he's trying to accept. Now, he also says there are few people who accept or reject me, right? There are four kind of people who accept it. There are four kind of people who reject it. Deviyesha gunamayi mama maya durattaya mam evaye prapatyante maya metam tarantite. Now, this material ocean, a person who is like samsara sagara, has been drowning. Krishna can help. Like it's like a entire ocean is there, no? It can makes into, it was compared to hoops of the cow. Why? The entire water can fit into the hoops of cow. So you can switch over, right? When the entire ocean of the water condensed into small calf's hoof, you can just jump it over, right? Mekedadu, there is a place called Mekedadu in Karnataka. Very famous. Kaveri is so big, so wide, but you can't cross over the jump. There's a Mekedadu means the Kaveri can be jumped by a goat. That's called Mekedadu. Why? Means there's a small narrow path where Kaveri goes, then it again goes big. Similarly, this material Sagara, Bhava Sagara can be easily jumped over like a goat. We can also jump material surrendering to Krishna. Krishna says, it's very difficult. Mayam yetam tarantide. You just surrender unto me. I will easily cross it. You will not be able to do on your own. How much our expert swimmer, you will not be. There are huge sharks in the ocean. There's so much distraction, you can't do it. Krishna is again assuring you. Now, again, he says there are four kind of people: the Mudas, Naradamas, Maya Aphrita Jana, Ashuram Bhavam. Those are atheists. They never come to me. There are four kind of people who also come to me: Artha, Jnaneshu, Artha, Arthati, Jnani. So let me go dwell into some time. I'll spend some time in explaining this. This is a very important concept. Then there is one more slide. Still, I would try to conclude by 9:15. So the first kind of people is the Mudas, means the person who is grossly engaged in the material affair. Remember that story, Club 99? Instead of working 6 hours, you want to earn $2 more, 2 more gold coins, and you increase to $12. Somebody is working like literally a donkey, like, for more than 12, 15 hours, 16 hours. Because this material world is complicated. If you don't work, there is nothing. There are people ready to work for that many hours. Where is the time for our spiritual activity? Where is the time for our realization? We need to run. We just stop, then people will jump over and run. There's no things, right? So it's very difficult in this personal, but still we need to take out time, pray to Lord. He will provide you the way to understand him. If you are sincere, Krishna will ye yata mam prapatyante tam tadaiva bhajamyaham. He would give definitely solution to it. So the Mudas are the person who never take Krishna because they're always busy in running after 15, 16 hours work. They come and tired, then they again get up. They're so busy, I don't know for what. Then this Naradama is a person who's don't follow regulative principle, who are doing all this adharmic activity. They never surrender to Krishna. That's why we say follow four regulative principles slowly. Whatever level you are in, try to understand what is this four regulative principle and try to overcome. Because if you keep doing it, all this activity, still want to progress in spiritual path, it doesn't happen. So that way, Maya Hapahrada Jnana means these are the people who are scientists. They misinterpret because of the misconception. They are jnanis, but they don't understand really Krishna is the supreme. and they gave their own interpretation. Then Ashram Bhava means these are people atheist. Outrightly they say there is no God. There are so many political parties I don't want to name. They outrightly claim that there is no God and there is a huge followers also. So these are the four people Krishna says they never come to me. Now, Artha, Jnaneshu, Jignashu, Artharthi and Jnani. Artha means those who want some material benefit, then they pray to Krishna, please give me some material benefit. Another person is inquisitive. You want to know, so what's happening? Let me also attend today's active program. What's happening? I want to understand. The third person is Artharthi, looking for a material benefit. And Jnani is the person who is like, he is better than other four category because he realized Krishna is the supreme and he wants to surrender. Now, please listen very carefully. This is very, very important. So people most of the time like good times, right? There is always a bad time in our thing. There is a good time happens in our life. So what is good times? When we are happy, we are something celebrating birthday or some event, we are happy. Or somebody is loving us, taking care of husband or wife, or could be father, mother, children, whatever combination, they are, so much love is pampered and they're so happy. Then you're beautiful, success comes every, you're getting proper paycheck and, there is a progression in the life, everything, house is there, car is there, you're content with whatever you have. Then there's a confidence level increases, good times, right? And there's a very harmonious relationship you take for granted. There is a good health. These are good times, right? Now look at the bad times, what happens. Bad times, what happens is you start praying more because there is something distressing, something you are bothering you, you start praying. So there is, then you increase your faith. Oh Krishna, why did you do to this to me? What is it I've done? And you start your praying and you'll be more disciplined. Whereas in the good times, you'll not be very disciplined. You'll be, eating whatever you want, because when you're having some problem, health issue, then, if you diet control, diet chart comes, right? You'll be more disciplined, more humble. When you have good times, you will not be humble. You don't bother, careless about it. You would start putting more efforts, then give your best. So you can never say that good time is good and bad time is bad. You can see that during the bad times, all the good come up for you. How much you will be doing prayers, how much you will be regulated, how much more effort you will be put, how much you are giving your best. During the bad time only give the best. Is that a good time? Do you do that? You become really lazy. You become casual. Everything is going well, then you become lazy. You don't want to go to gym because it's okay. As long as there is no issues. But when health is not there, then you try to do that. So it is like there are two examples you need to understand. So always don't think that God is a problem solver. I need to go to God. Krishna, I have this problem. You need to solve this. Don't think that way. Look at the problems in a different perspective. I told you this example. The bad times gets good out of you. It makes you more disciplined. Good times, it doesn't do that. It's not that we want bad time always, but bad time also required for us to mold ourselves. It's like a baby walking, right? A small baby is walking. If mother says, oh, my baby is falling down, it's paining me, let her not walk. I'll buy a wheeler, four-wheeler. She can, once it grows up 15, 16, whenever she wants, let her walk. Do we do that? No, right? When it falls down, no, baby, it's okay. You get up again, walk. What happens is the baby starts learning. So you want her to fall and learn. Cycle. Somebody's trying to let. Sometimes the boy will fall. He will cry. Don't worry. Try again. The father will motivate. Similarly, these bad times are helping us to go deeper into find a spiritual truth, being humble, spending more time. Somehow we take more time, right? During bad times to pray. At the same time, when your good times happening, do we do the same kind of a prayers and we do spend time? No. This is the opportunity for us to get engaged. Don't see God as a means for solving problems. See problems as a means for seeking God. Go more deeper into our activity. I'm not telling we should bad times happen, but if something happens, you think that I'm getting molded, I'm walking, I'm trying to walk in the life, I'm going to be successful, but because my father is there behind to handhold me. It's like another example is the cocoon, right? There is a worm. So some boy saw, oh, this is struggling. The worm is struggling to come out of the cocoon. You cut open the cocoon. You know what? The worms will never get wings because the struggle for existence, the struggle for coming out of it, it makes the body more stronger actually. That's how it develops the wings and it comes out. If you cut it open, the possibility of it becoming a butterfly or a thing, it is possibilities are very, very less. Unless it struggles and comes out of the cocoon, you should not think it as, oh, I'm really worried about my kid. I have so much problem. No, in fact, that struggle make you more stronger or more deeper into Krishna conscious. In future, this kind of situation, you will be able to handle those kind of things. Finally, the thing is, we should not find a solution here in this material world. Krishna says, "You call him Asashvatam, somehow learn your lessons, please come to me." That should be our goal. So never think that Krishna is the problem solver. Anything, things we hold dear. The other thing is that sometimes Krishna might take away the dearest things because that might maybe a hindrance to closer to go to Krishna. Right? Sometimes some people may be attached to something. Don't, if something is not able to achieve, then you know that you're not surrendering it to Krishna. So that's why Krishna is giving to it. If something Krishna is giving, you know that you will be utilizing it properly and still you will be in Krishna consciousness. So don't blame, don't go to God for solving a problem. He's like a SOX observer. Any problem I have, you should manage it, then you should solve it. No, it's not look at that God that way. Krishna is telling, don't try to solve the problem here. You seek more about me. This knowledge what I'm giving is like this. Now, the one more powerful example, let me give you. See beyond the provision to the provider. Like you take an example of a baby. As soon as it borns, it eats everything and anything. It thinks that everything is nourishing it. If you see anything, it will keep it in the mouth. Mother's milk, it will drink. Then after some months or year, it will realize, oh, my mother is a person. She gives me milk and she's also loves me so much. She's taking care of me. She's cuddling me. She's doing everything for me. He realizes the mother. Then the baby will judge mother's love by what is the toys. As soon as grows 4 or 5 years, what is the toys mother is giving? If that gives this, she feels that mother is loving me. After beyond 15, 16, even though you don't give milk, you don't give material, she thinks that beyond this, my mother loves me. This my mother is loving me. Similarly, we understand the God. Initially, we might be the kid seeking everything, problem, Krishna, you have to solve. We might go little step more. Krishna, are you providing all those small problems? We go. Then we big problems. Krishna, are you solving? Are you providing sufficient for me, family to take care? No, we need to go beyond this mode as a kid who after 15, 16, 20 years realizes the real love for a father or a mother. Similarly, Krishna loves, he's telling, boss, my main purpose is not solve the problem in this material world. Don't try to solve. Come out of it. I'm telling my opponents where I live, where you belongs to, why you have to come out of it. These are the small tests you make yourself like a cocoon struggle, baby step take. I am there to protect you, but come to me. That's what Krishna is trying to say. And this were four kind of people. We might fall under this four category of people. We might be looking for some material distressed. Artha means one who is distressed in the life, seeking Krishna, or inquisitive, jignashu. Then Artha means one who is one material benefit. Krishna, I want that, that's why I'm worshipping. Dhruva Maharaj initially went, but later he realized that this piece of glass cannot help me. So he wanted a kingdom bigger than his father. Of course, he got Dhruva Loka, but he went for that purpose. Again, he got it. So Krishna is trying to solve, telling boss, I'm not here to solve you. I'm not a grocery list. It is not a business we are making. You don't come to me for problem solving. Of course, you can go. There's nothing wrong. But what I'm telling, that is not the purpose where the Lord is there. He is there to have genuinely establish our relationship, love each other, and eternally you will be happy there. You can't be happy here. That's what time and again he will do it. But initially we may not understand this. We might still take it to problem, but take it to Krishna. Don't take it to the demigods. So that's the next topic. Why Krishna is telling about the demigods. There are people worship demigods. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but the devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Again, Krishna telling, don't treat me like a problem-solving machine or something. Go beyond. I have only pure love. Whatever I'm doing it for your benefit, so that you can mature, strong, become stronger, able to walk on your own, understand my things. Don't ever think next time when the problem comes, it is opportunity. You should be really happy. So this is opportunity Krishna is trying to teach me. You want to make me closer to Krishna. So I need to learn. You need to become stronger. Of course, you have to face the problem. There will be a pain. There will be family issues. You would depressed. But you knew that I am always Krishna's, I'm always Krishna's, I'm always Krishna's. So whatever Krishna is doing, it is for my betterment. That strong feeling should be there. Then you will be able to overcome any amount of problem. When Krishna sees you are able to surrender, you can come closer to him. Now, there is another example to show, another story, fantastic story. I want to end with this problem. So 9 o'clock, but still I would take another 5 minutes. It's a wonderful story. I want you to listen. Then I would stop this for more question, and I'll open up the line for the question and answer. So there is, you all know this Puri Jagannath in Orissa. He's Krishna himself. He's called Jagannath, means he's the Lord of the universe. He's just not the universe of Bangalore. Is not the Lord of the India. He's not Lord of the USA. He is the entire universe. Lord of Jagannath means, Jagan means entire world. So what happens is, it is custom that all the devatas, they go between morning 1 to 3 o'clock before it opens the temple. They go and give the report to him, saying that these are the activities I have done. Devata will come, all the Surya Devatas, Chandra Devata, and one time Yama is also coming. You know, Yama is the Lord of Death. He also gives the report. So he also goes, and Jagannath, because your mercy, I'm doing this duty. Like a Prime Minister, all the ministers go and report, right? Similarly, these are the ministers' respective department, they go on the report. So when Yama was coming on the particular day in the early morning, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, something like that, he was going to meet Jagannath, because that's the time humans will not be there. We will be sleeping, and that's the time they are given a slot. They've been given this midnight time for Jagannath. But now also it happens. Somebody goes there inside. Somebody can feel that somebody is pressurizing, but they will not be able to see the devatas. They come, you can see a lot of flowers will be there. They clean up and go in the night. Next day morning, you can see there are a lot of flowers and the arati and everything would have been performed. This shows that these external celestial beings are they are coming every day. Now also it's happening. So this place, one day Yama came, he wanted to give a report. Then he was looking at near to the Garuda Stamba, there was a small bird was sitting, small sparrow. Then he looked very strangely and he was so confused. He didn't tell anything, he speak anything. Then he went to give a report to Jagannath. The bird noticed this. Yama looks at me at this glance, means there is some problem. I am going to die, my time has come. Otherwise, he wouldn't look at me like this. But what is that could be a problem? It frightened. Then next to Garuda, so Garuda said, I am the king of the bird. Why are you worrying? What's your problem? The sparrow told this like this, Yama saw me. Soon that I am going to die. You have to protect me. I'm worried. Garuda said, don't worry. I am in the Lord of the universe. I am the king of everything. I am the servitor of Jagannath. I'll take care of you. If you are here only, you will die. No, let me see. He takes, you can see in the below image, there is a, you can see Kailash, near to the Mount Kailash, there is a small cave, and it went and kept the bird there secretly, so that Lord Yama will not find out. So it came back quickly. This, it can fly so fast, Garuda, it just went a second and came back. Then this Yama went inside. He gave the report and came back. Then he was looking for the bird, because he know that this bird is supposed to die. And he was looking for the bird. Then Garuda was looking at side glance, saying, what is your problem? What are you looking at? He said, before there was one small bird. It's supposed to die. I didn't know how it will die. That's why I was looking for it. I need to take the life back. And Garuda said, no, not possible till I'm here, because I am protecting the bird. You can never make it die. He said, that is not the issue. I went and complained to Jagannath ji. Garuda asked, what is that you complained? You've given me the post of Yama. I'm supposed to do my duty. This bird who is standing here now supposed to die in another 3 minutes, bite by a snake in the Himalayas near Kailash in the cave. The bird, even it flies, it's going to take 10-15 days. It is not possible for it to die. But how this Jagannath will make it happen, I didn't know. Then I went and complained to Jagannath, saying that I'm not able to do my duty today. This bird is not going to die because it's supposed to die, but it is here in your temple. First thing, I can't kill anything in your temple. Second thing, it can't go to, even though it goes out of the temple and flies also, it may take 10 days. How it is it possible? But you return it in the like this, it is fate. Then Jagannath said, don't worry, I have taken care. So I was confused. When I came out, I didn't see. So Jagannath would have made, I really don't know. Then Garuda realized, my God, I became the instrument for this bird to go there, and the bird has died there. So even the demigods want to perform their activity. Even they want to give something. Without sanction of the Lord Krishna or Lord Jagannath, nothing happens. He is behind everything. Every activity is brain. That's why he says, men of small intelligence worship the demigods and the fruits are limited and temporary. So that's what happens when we go to the Devatas. They also need to again get the permission from Lord of the Universe or Krishna. Without his sanction, it will not come. So better you surrender to Krishna and slowly start practicing it. Then these are the myopulence, like that Jagannath it's the story. I like to stop here and open up, any questions or comments. I want to be more interactive and, please share your realization or anything to be uh, done. I am happy to do that. So I stop now. So please feel free to. In the chat, there are 3 messages. Sashikala, you're not able to hear. Is it okay? I don't know. I've completed the session. Divya, which one is effective? Chanting, hearing, or both, especially mantras and shlokas? Chanting is the topmost. Why? When you chant, you both hear as well as you pronounce it. So that is more effective. So when we chant, you hear both. Somebody is like, even people, somebody says, what if there's a dumb and deaf? What, he can't do that? Like that. So somebody might question. So somebody is able to mentally also think that's okay. Somebody is able to hear, somebody is not able to chant. There's a problem in their mouth, but they can hear only. They can do, still doing any one process, they can go back. But best is the chanting of Hare Krishna Mantra, which includes 3 things. You chant something, then you hear, then remember, because you're chanting and listening, it will reverberate in your head, mind for a long time. So you will be able to think about Krishna. So all these 3 activities we do. When you do this 3 activity, then you automatically do Archana, automatically do Vandana, automatically do friendship, automatically do Atmanivedana. So the core is the chanting of Hare Krishna Mantra, loudly hearing. That is a fundamental activity. If you do that, other things will fall in place. So kindly please unmute and ask your questions or more or your reflections. I'll be happy to, because I didn't know, one way I've been communicating, but other way I don't hear it back. So I really don't know you're able to get the understanding or it is too much to take it for you. We are not able to believe some of them. We are newcomers. It is too much of concepts, or is it okay? Or I'm happy to customize as per your feedback. Any other question?
It's okay, Prabhuji. I think last story was nice. And yeah,
okay, this is a true story. These are not a story. It's a true incident, pastimes of the Lord Jagannath. Still, if you go, the Pandas will say the night the Devatas come, you can see the flowers and other things, paraphernalia of Arati and all placed there. He is the Lord of the universe and everybody comes and reports. This is the position of the Devatas. So it's very clear. Krishna is clearly telling, he is claiming, Agam Sarvasya Prabhu, I am creating everything. I am the taste of the water. What else he can do? He was telling, please come back. He's trying all the means. You take Dasavatara, at least you get attracted with any one of the avatars. If you don't like Matsya, it's okay. At least you love Kurma. If you don't like it, at least Krishna Avatar. You don't like Krishna Avatar, at least do Rama Avatar. What kind of misty yogis he has performed? Look at last time. Rama could construct a bridge without pillar. Imagine, there are so much pillar, we do flyovers with the pillar, right? Rama did not do any pillars. Without pillar, this is the first technology in the universe. Without pillar, somebody can construct a footing bridge. My God, what a technology he had. That's a city of Ramachandra.
Yeah.
Right? She is telling, please be attracted. I am doing so much pastime because you hear. What is the difficulty? He said, I have given you Bhagavatam slokas, 1 lakh slokas, now 18,000 slokas, and originally it was 1 lakh. So he's giving so much Puranas, Idikasas, so much abandon. Everything will boil down to finally to Krishna. Essentially, that Vedas and everything will take you to Krishna. So we just need to have some faith, but there will be ups and downs. We might when fall, when the problem comes, that's where we start doubting Krishna. Krishna, why did you do to me? I've been perfect. I've been trying to learn, but still you're trying to test. We don't understand the bigger picture. Krishna is making us, our hands are strong so that we can get a fly and go back to Krishna like a cocoon. Unless the struggle is itself important for us to learn things. Otherwise, if somebody cuts open the cocoon, you will become, it will not survive. It will not get wings. So you need to see the perspective of the entire life itself. It will transform into changes, saying that I am always Krishna's. Krishna's whatever is doing is right for me. So you have that mood by chanting. This only happens through association, chanting, regular reading. So this keep on reminding, you'll become really strong. Then you will be able to open up the cocoon, or you'll be able to make a step forward. Then you will be on your own, you'll be walking. Till then, Krishna will be helping us to go. Some people, Krishna says there's 4 kind of people who can never come. They will never come. Perpetually they will be in this material world. They'll be taking many years of life. That's why this earth is also kind of what happens. It's all the people goes back to Krishna. That will never happen. Krishna says these 4 kind of people, they'll never surrender. They perpetually dwell here. Very, very, very difficult. So, but we don't want to be in that position, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, also that part where you explained the problem solving, always for Krishna, you ask for problem solving. That part was nice. So he has a different, I mean, plans. What is good for the person?
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
solving all the problems. Okay.
Yeah. So first thing is you don't know what's going to happen. It's a difficult situation, but at least you know that back of mind, you'll be strong. At least Krishna is doing it for some reason. There's something I need to learn. So you will not be really shaken up. But if there is normal material people, they'll be shaken up. You have to go through pain. There's nothing that Krishna says, you will do that. So we also go through like any other people, a lot of problems, family issues, we also go through. But at the back of mind, I will not be really disturbed into extreme thing that, I want to give up my life, or I'm just, you don't take any extreme step. Of course, it is paining you because there's a person who is lovable, family issue, job, everything will be there. Every emotion I go through, like a normal person or any other devotee would go through. But back of mind, always they knew that this is something Krishna is trying to do for me better. What if that lady was giving the example, she want to go to America? It may be that Krishna's plan that she will get more association here, or she might be better off here. If goes there, she might forget Krishna. So better than that, let me be here. Sometimes we say that why Krishna did not sanction that, or we might think that this problem Krishna was lacking so much, but Krishna somehow did not sanction it. Think always that he knows what is better for us. He is the Father who's loving so much, and he gives life. You can see from the devotees of life, Namadev. There are so many acharyas life. Personally, he takes care of them. That is love.
Yes, right.
That is, he declares
Yes.
boldly, do not declare, I will protect my devotees. They'll never perish. That's Krishna's wording. It is there in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna will never leave anyone like that. That
Yes.
Shraddha faith should have strong faith. We should have. I'm sorry, I've taken 15 minutes more today because the topic is so interesting. Actually, I want to tell more stories. I know it's when I stop doing, I don't know, somehow. But yeah, we will keep meeting regularly. It's just not the 18 days or 30 days. We will continue after that. These sessions are not to be meant for only 13, 15 days. It is meant after that also we like you to continue, and we will have more such discussion, more two-way communications and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.